Hello, folks. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're surviving during these troubling times. Forgive me for the bad lighting. I can't do anything about it. It's just the way my room is built. When you have a man cave, you like it nice and dark when you're watching a football game. Anyway, I hope everything's all right. I hope you don't have two little girls like I do who keep breaking in, so I might have to do some momentary stoppage. But anyway, I'm going to attempt my very best to finish up all of the remaining chapters by the end of the week so that you'll have plenty of time to plan for the final test. Now, I fully will allow you to get as much time as possible for you to finish this classwork. But if you want to finish it early, if you are asking me to let's do the final as quick as you possibly could, if you want to email me, I'd be more than happy to respond back to you. Because in this particular situation, everything needs to be as flexible as possible. All right? So, there was once again some discussion about the which of the cases that you would like to work on, and it can be any of the cases. All right, and just select two of them, whichever one they are. And of course, that you'll note is that each case has its own unique selectivity. If you want to work in groups, in other words, if you want to talk back and forth to each other about what you find in the cases, I have no problem with that. Each of you, however, please write a unique individual paper. If I start seeing a lot of phrases that coincide with each other, I'll be concerned. Also, you have the ability of using Zoom. As a student at Appalachian State, you have the professional version, so you can set up your own Zoom meetings. I believe all you have to do is go to Zoom's website and use your EDU address, okay? So, without further ado, let's go ahead and finish. Now, the slides that I have, or that you have in online on As You Learn, are updated slides that I have removed everything that you do not need for the final 4 chapters to know for the last test, okay? So if you go through it and you may have downloaded the others, realize that you've probably have got, if you got the first versions, probably have about 4, 5, or 6 slides at least that are redundant right now. So you might want to just check them over, okay? All right, so without further ado, let's start talking about Chapter 13, which is how do we set product strategy. Well, the first thing let's do is, what's always big and important is that we go to the classification of what a product is, okay? A product is anything that can be offered to a market to satisfy a need or a want, and that includes a physical good. It can be a service. It can be an experience that is enjoyable. It can be events. You can sell knowledge. You can sell property, information, ideas. Anything is a sellable object, okay? Now, if some of you come from the old industrial marketing days like I did, you're going to recognize that the components of any marketing or of any item that creates value are usually 3 basic things, okay? Quality, service, and then price. Now, here, when we're looking at it, you're looking at services and quality, but we're thinking of them as both as the product and the service itself, and that's kind of how the mix is. And the definition of what are those value, how do we base those the prices is basically what is the returnability, or how do we group those benefits and how valuable they are to the consumer. And so if a product does not perform in a beneficial way, then perhaps the product is not a usable or saleable unit. So there's an old saying by, of course, Theodore Levitt, who is the great guru of all time. So he would approach his MBA students and he would say, what do you think that people want when you buy a quarter-inch drill? people don't want to buy a 1/4-inch drill, they want to buy a 1/4-inch hole. And so the majority of this, or basically what they're saying is do you want to buy a drill or do you want to buy a hole? And the important thing to understand with that is that you want to sell a product on the benefits that it has, all right? And so the message that comes about is sell the hole, not the drill, all right? And so leading into that as an idea, let's look at the next PowerPoint slides where it talks about the 5 levels of value in the hierarchy of a given product. And so the first thing about any given product is what's known as the core benefit. And the core benefit is the fundamental level of what a product is, and it is the benefit that the consumer has and what they're really buying. And so if I were looking at a hotel room, the core benefit, I'm not renting a room for a night. I'm buying a place to sleep and to rest and to rejuvenate myself, all right? And so that would be the concept of what a core benefit would be. And at the second level, what you have to do is you talk about the basic product itself, and you're talking mostly about the physicality of what that particular product is. And so you're talking about if you're talking basically about the most basic of hotel rooms, you're talking about a bathroom, a bed, towels, desk, dresser, closet. Those are what are considered to be the basic product itself. Now the third level is what we'd also consider to be the conformance quality, which is the expected benefits out of actually using that. And so it's not just a bed, it's a clean bed. You want fresh towels. You want to be able to have working lamps. You want to have a relative degree of quiet. You want to have hot water, as much hot water as you possibly can. I would also include now, you at least to have some reasonable hope for a decent cup of coffee. You see this slide back and forth as well. However, these are conformance things, the expected benefits that you have. On the fourth level, you're looking at the augmented product that exceeds the customer's expectations. You could almost say this is the performance quality. And so if you're looking at the brand positioning, the desire to be at a Hilton hotel, they have the amenities that you might have there. You could also say things like breakfast in the morning, but not only just breakfast, but like a really good one. So at Embassy Suites, as I've said before, 2 things that my wife loves about that. One is we get a door between the front room and the back room, and the next is that they cook an omelet for you in the morning. So that would be an example of what the augmented is. And the fifth level is where marketing looks in the future, and this is the potential product. And this is all of the possible augmentations and transformations that the product might undergo in the future. And so what you're ultimately trying to do is think of new ways in which you can satisfy the consumer. And so thus that is basically what we're looking at as a product. And I will say once again that you sell the hole, not the drill. Okay? Now, how do we classify products? Well, we look at them in 3 ways. We look about how durable they are. We look at it how tangible they are. And what is the appropriate use, whether it is consumer or industrial. I can remember, this was 1992 when Gulf War I came up. And I worked in the PC industry at the time. And the Army was trying to come up with an acceptable laptop for them to use as a launching platform. And they sent out all of these specifications. And every laptop manufacturer sent the ones, their basic units, and it bombed horrifically bad. Quite simply is because they needed laptops that were hammer-proof, and nobody could provide those. And so use is a big reason why. Okay, so product, you assign them by their durability, by their tangibility and their use. And so if we're talking about durability and tangibility, then we're looking at three different groups. One of them is known as a non-durable good. One of them is known as a durable good, and then of course services. All right. So non-durable goods basically are those goods that are consumed in 1 or 2 cycles and no more. Okay. Beer, shampoo, eggs, food, those are things. And usually these are goods that are usually consumed frequently. Now we try to get you to understand that non-durable goods are not just a single use, but they could be a use multiple times, but in essence, after certain, in other words, there's a finite date that generally is less than 6 months, maybe even to a year. That's what's considered a non-durable good. A durable good are tangible goods that survive many uses. And so refrigerators, washers, dryers, machine tools, those things, they usually require a little bit more personal selling. They usually command a higher margin. They require more seller guarantees because when they're durable goods, in essence, what happens is they're competing against other durable goods as well. And so beyond just merely the fact that that's the first corporation that you looked at, that a non-durable good, all that you may be looking for is convenience, and that's the reason why you buy it. Usually durable goods, because they tend to be shopping goods, you are aggressively seeking whatever is the best deal. All right. Durable goods, as I said, last beyond a single cycle and are very much comparable with each other. The last is services, and services have a very unique definition. They are intangible. They are inseparable. In other words, when you have a service, generally you have all the services at one time. And they are consumed at the moment of purchase. All right? So just think of that. They're consumed at the moment of purchase. They cannot be stored. They cannot be inventoried. So in essence, what they are in essence bought at that moment and consumed at that moment. Now, what it also means is this, is because there is no way to check for quality in a particular item, it means that things has to, such as the credibility of the supplier, those things become more important than ever. Anyone who's ever gotten a bad haircut in their lives, present company included, knows that reputation is extremely important. You're not going to go get legal advice from an individual who has less than a stellar background. And so those are important things to consider when we're talking about a service. Okay, so product classifications, durability, tangibility, and then use is the third. Now what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about consumer goods. Okay? So in 1923, when marketing finally was split off from economics, marketing basically came into its birth because it actually was thought of as a better way of understanding how to deliver goods to consumers. The definition for marketing when I took it in 1976 was the provision and efficient distribution of goods and services over a chosen consumer segment. That used to be marketing in a nutshell in the 70s. However, marketing has changed dramatically. At the same time when marketing came out, it was important for economics to classify goods because generally the classification of goods was how determine how you would get the goods to consumers. And so these are the 4 definitions of consumer goods. Now, unsought goods is the late entry. The convenience shopping and specialty came in 1923 at the same time. And so these 4, generally everything falls into these classifications. So the first is convenience goods. All right. Convenience goods usually are those things that are purchased frequently, immediately, and with little effort. Let me say that again. They're purchased frequently, immediately, and with minimal effort. Usually, the effort that is required in a convenience good is only that you recognize that that particular good falls in a given strata of what you expect, and then you just simply grab it and go out. Okay? So those are what are known as impulse items. These are the items that you see right next to the counter on your way out, and you're thinking about that candy bar that you haven't eaten in a while, and you just grab it and go. Now, because you're not necessarily thinking about it, you're not using the thinking route. Generally, what you're looking for is peripheral keys, and so color, shape are extremely important. Smell, especially. If you have those things, then those things mean more when it comes to purchasing impulse items. And so that is why colors are so pronounced on convenience and impulse items, because you'll understand the color before you will understand anything else. And so if I were to say orange to you in a candy counter, you might automatically think of Reese's Cups or any of the others. If I were to say brown, you might think of Snickers bars. All of those things. Three Musketeers used to be a white wrapper, and because it wasn't selling well, they've gone to a tinfoil wrapper, a aluminum looking wrapper, and it has shine. All right, so those are consumer goods. All right, soft drinks, soap, anything that is convenient to purchase. Okay, it is your staples as well. Staple goods are routine transactions that you do every week. Egg, cheese, bread, those kind of things would be considered staples as well. Shopping goods require more effort. All right, they compare things with one good versus another, such as the suitability for having its use, the quality of that unit, the price, the style. Furniture is an example. Clothing is another. Certainly what I used to sell was known as white goods, which were refrigerators, ovens, washers, dryers, those kind of things. Those are what are considered to be shopping goods. And it is because they're classified as shopping goods, those goods generally have to be next to another good in order to be sold successfully. No one would want to be able to go into, let's say, a Home Depot or let's say a Lowe's and go in and see, I would like to see a washer, and basically just have one model on the floor and for someone to say that's it. No, you would feel a little bit strange for a lot of reasons. You'd want to compare and contrast features. And so shopping goods need to be next to each other so that you can decide whether or not you want those goods at all. So, the next are what are known as specialty goods, and those are goods that have unique characteristics or identifications, and that you're willing to make a special effort to go out and purchase. You will actually go out of your way to get these particular goods to satisfy whatever your own personal demands are. I can think of an example is whenever I go to Hickory, my girls want me to stop in the mall and go look at some things that they have there. And so, of course, I'm a sucker for my girls, and I go there and buy those items that are special. Watches, all right, might be in that classification. So if any of you are doing the swatch, I think it'd be extremely important for you to look at and define the purpose of that particular item, and whether or not, if it is a specialty good, what's going to be important in its purchase. Okay. The last is Unsought Goods, and this made the lineup, I believe, in 1976. And these are the goods that basically you don't normally go about thinking about buying. Examples are like insurance and cemetery plots, smoke detectors. Those items are not usually initially thought of, but they are important just as well. My mother... I grew up on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, and Hurricane Katrina came along and took my mother out of her place, and so she settled down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, about 60 miles from the ocean. and she got a settlement on all of her losses. And she called me and she said, "Oh, honey, I wanted to let you know that I got a cemetery plot for me in Long Beach, so everything will be fine." Long Beach is the home that I'm from. And she said, "Oh, and I bought one for you, and bought one for your brother Lynn, and for your sister Jewel." And I was about to say something, because certainly I'm not out there seeking cemetery plots. But I thought to myself, you know what? That meant a lot to my mother. She wanted to know that I had a place to go. And instead of saying anything else, I just said, "Thanks, Mom." So sometimes you just got to say thanks, Mom. So yes, it's definitely an unsought good, but guess what? You're going to need it. It's just like insurance. Okay, so excuse me if any of you sell insurance. So we have these products and these different classifications of products. And once again, we affirm that we sell the hole and not the drill. But it's important also to understand that you might want quarter-inch holes, but you want good quarter-inch holes. It isn't just simply enough that you're satisfying them, the most basic of needs. There are things that are beyond just that. And so it's not just that I eat food to consume so that I don't go hungry. I want to be not only satiated, I want to be satisfied as well. And so what we hope for in our goods is not just merely satisfaction. What we hope is that everything succeeds, that not only that the things function as a consumer wants, but we want to be able to have uniqueness in whatever we purchase as well. And this comes down under the concept of design. Design is the totality of all the features that affect the way a product looks and feels and functions to a consumer. And so I'm sure every one of you are sitting in a chair right now. Think about those chairs. Think about what you wanted in that particular chair. Some of you just wanted something to sit on. You might be just sitting on a bench. I'm sitting on a chair right now that is made of bungee cords so that it supports my back. This picture is of a chair that is an executive chair. It looks like it's got nice kind of back support, lumbar support as well. It's got arms on the on the sides. So all of those things together represents everything, the totality of all of those unique features. And it is done in a way that the function, all right, also creates, or the totality creates a unique way to differentiate that particular consumer's products. And that's important for you to understand. The design helps to create a unique position in the consumer's mind. If I were to say corporations like IKEA, which my wife, when you've got a Swedish wife, you shop at IKEA, all right? It is not just merely the fact that those goods perform a given function, all right? They also perform a given vibe. Any of you who have ever been overseas, you know that there's always a uniqueness about the way those designs come up. So what is a design supposed to do? Well, a design is supposed to be and should be emotionally powerful. It transmits a brand meaning and a position just in the way that it looks. It's especially important with durable goods because the durable goods have to find a way because there's a greater intensity to be shopping. And so that's increasingly important. It also means, one moment please.